Tonight, Sydney choked by the city's worst dust storm in 70 years. Extreme health warnings as our pollution index goes off the scale. Where did the incredible storm come from, and when will the dust finally settle? Plus, the teenager banned for 20 years over the Penrith Grand Final brawl.
This is 7 News with Ian Ross.
Good evening. Sydney's dust storm has pushed air pollution through the roof with extreme health warnings. Tonight, 7 News has live coverage with all the remarkable pictures, advice on precautions you should take and the weather ahead. First to Damien Smith at Observatory Hill. And Damien, we're told this was Sydney's worst air pollution in 70 years.
Yeah, Ian, the worst since 1939. So for most people, today was as bad as they have ever seen. Not only that, but pollution was the highest that it has ever been recorded. Millions of tonnes of outback dust that blocked out the sun, clogged our lungs and turned Sydney into the red centre. The day the sky turned to blood.
Getting to the Harbour Bridge, we weren't expecting it to look like this in the morning.
The Emerald City was bathed in a ruby glow.
Look, very surprising. Very, very surprising.
Luna Park's smile seemed sinister and hungry, like the gateway to hell. Sydney looked as if it had been caught between Armageddon and the apocalypse. To the west, Parramatta's streets were cherry-coloured avenues. Not the best time to mow the lawn. The dust set off dozens of fire alarms, keeping the fire brigade busy. At Manly Beach, a few braved the surf as the Norfolk pines were lost in crimson cloud. A lone treasure hunter fossicked at Coogee, while a happy snapper captured the eerie morning. The sun struggled to pierce an almost solid atmosphere. Ordinarily, people come from all around the world to this spot to catch a glimpse of Sydney's picture-perfect postcard beauty. But today, it's lost in a dirty fog. Sydney hasn't seen anything like it for 70 years. The wind, up to 80 kilometres an hour, dust and pollen, made it a perfect storm for asthma attacks. The air becomes dangerous with pollution at 200 parts per million. Today it reached almost 3,500. The storm played havoc with transport. Intrepid airline pilots did their best.
Runway 25, cleared land.
Making split-second decisions to abort their landings to try again. It was heaven for plane spotters.
It's always good to have something interesting happen.
Delays in Sydney quickly had a knock-on effect throughout the country, throwing airlines into chaos. Sydney's trains and buses took the storm in their stride.
Most people in Sydney had the opportunity to get to work on time by their normal mode of transport.
The red mist turned car headlights blue. Drivers took heed to take extra care until the dust cleared. Sydney ferries lay idle until mid-morning. Only the privately owned Fast Ferry dared to cut a slow trip through a hazy harbour. Extra buses were put on instead.
Don't worry about your tickets, folks. Ferry replacement, straight through.
Cars were caked with a red dirt reminder of the dust storm of the century. Squeegee men were doing a brisk trade.
Yeah, good, but the water gets dirty too quick.
As the sky cleared, the dust settled. So did a tree, crashing through power lines outside the fish markets.
The tree came down right in front of the car in front of me, and he slammed on his brakes, and it probably missed him by about half a metre.
Yeah, close call there, Ian. That driver was very lucky. And police are praising drivers all across Sydney for taking it easy today in the harsh conditions, with fewer accidents than normal reported. Ian.
All right, thanks, Damien. Damien Smith there. Now to Chris Maher at St Vincent's Hospital. And Chris, doctors have some extreme health warnings. What's their advice?
Ian, people with asthma or lung problems are most at risk, but the air is so thick it's dangerous for everyone. Doctors say stay inside, don't exercise, and if you do have to go outside, cover your mouth. But not everyone's listening. Air quality is expected to remain hazardous tomorrow, possibly Friday. Now, the sky may look clear, but the health concerns remain. Ian?
OK, thanks, Chris. Chris Maher reporting. Weather presenter Sarah Gruen is keeping an eye on our skies. Sarah, how strong are those winds?
Well, Ian, they're still strong to gale force along the coast, tending moderate in the western suburbs. But this morning's onslaught saw nor'westerlies gusting up to 82 kilometres an hour. The winds were at their worst around midday, with widespread strong gales of 70 to 80 kilometres an hour. We typically experience these types of winds a few times a year in Sydney, but rarely this extensive. Taking a wider look at the wind patterns, we can see the main system, this deep low and cold front, is now clearing out to sea. Winds should ease throughout by around 11 p.m. But for now, a severe weather warning for damaging winds remains along most of eastern New South Wales, including Sydney. I'll have more details a little later. Ian.
OK, thanks, Sarah. See you then.